Vandals have targeted a historic Jewish cemetery in University City, a town very close to St. Louis, Missouri. Now, we have a video explaining exactly what happened and also showing some of the damage that occurred as a result of these vandals, and then I will fill you in on more details. Let's take a look.
Headstones toppled at a Jewish cemetery near St. Louis. This morning, family members with loved ones buried here are taking the attack personally.
This is just awful. I cannot imagine such desecration occurring in a holy place like this.
I feel nervous. I walked through there and I just felt that this was just a senseless act, a faceless, cowardly, hateful act. And that's unnerving.
It comes amid a rise in anti-Semitic activity, with the FBI investigating a string of bomb threats against Jewish community centers nationwide. Since the new year, authorities say 54 Jewish centers have been targeted in 27 states. 11 new threats called in Monday. This Jewish center in Birmingham, Alabama, forced to evacuate for the second time in a month.
So it's believed that more than 100 headstones were damaged. A lot of them were older headstones predating 1960. And so it's just hideous behavior, and authorities are investigating it. Interestingly enough, today on CNN, I don't know if you and John covered this video, but Wolf Blitzer had two pundits on, one of which was a Trump supporter, and he immediately blamed progressives for it.
Right, because some progressive went out and kicked over Jewish headstones?
Right now, we don't know who did it. As of now, as of us reporting this story right now, we don't know who did it. So why do we immediately jump to pointing fingers to anyone, right? Like, let's hold a second and figure out who did it. And secondly, who cares about political ideology? Whoever did this is wrong. If it's a group of people, they're wrong. In fact, it's believed that there was some organization behind the crime. Some organization behind the crime. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what kind of information emerges from all this. But look, you can't have double standards, okay? If you go out there and you say disparaging things about Muslims, about women, about black people, and you kind of open those floodgates for hate, then yeah, those who are hateful are going to go out there and attack those that they don't like. And they're not going to think, well, the person that I voted for or the person that I support only said this about Muslims. No, you open the floodgates. And people like Trump during this last election openly said terrible things about pretty much every minority group you can imagine.
There's a reason why the Jewish groups are so hostile, have become, many Jewish groups are so hostile to Trump. I mean, it's not an accident. Steve Bannon's not an accident, right? Who's the alt-right guy?
Richard Spencer?
Right, Richard Spencer. Richard Spencer, there's a reason this guy's going around and trumpeting Trump's horn. Same with David Duke. Leaving, again, I care far more about style wins elections. And style is a big part of politics, but once they're in office, then the substance matters more. So I don't care about proclamations or what Trump says or when he condemns anti-Semitism. I get that it might be important, but I'm less interested in that. Mm-hmm. But you don't accidentally leave Jews out of the Holocaust Remembrance Day. If you're doing the Holocaust, you talk about Jews, and if you leave them out, that's on purpose.
Yeah.
That's an intentional move. And so do people hear that? Is that a message for people, again, because we're not talking about people who aren't interested in that. If you're not interested in that message, then it's meaningless. Then you don't think about it. And most people aren't. But those who are interested in that, those who bear some hostility to Jews, they hear that. And when headstones get kicked over in a Jewish cemetery in St. Louis, it's probably someone hostile to Jews. Like whoever whoever was on there with Wolf, right? Mm-hmm. I got it. He's trying to say progressives are doing a false flag. Maybe, and they should investigate, right?
Yeah.
And catch the person. But I'll bet that guy that it's actually someone who hates Jews. Just a thought. I know that's crazy, but that's where my money is.
Yeah, I think that we're in this really interesting time in America where people feel very comfortable being transparent about their bigotry or their hate, right? In fact, the people who are most transparent about it or more outrageous with their viewpoints get rewarded for it. And so I don't know if the tide will turn on this. I don't know if things will change and people will realize, oh, maybe it's not a good idea for me to publicly state that pedophilia is okay. Maybe it's not a good idea for me to talk about how much I hate Muslims or how much I think women are pigs or whatever it is. Maybe it's not okay. I don't know. There was a point in America where it wasn't okay, but we're not in that point right now. In fact, we're at a point where that kind of behavior gets celebrated. We get these news stories where people behave poorly, right? And then Trump will wag his finger and be like, no, 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 that's not nice. I'm the least anti-Semitic person you've ever seen. Least anti-Semitic. No, but you're not. You refused to denounce David Duke when he initially supported you, right? I don't know who David Duke is. Yes, you do, right? And that kind of tone basically went through his entire campaign and continues on today into his administration. And it has real consequences for a lot of innocent people. So that's just the world we're living in.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, I'm anxious to see how this story gets resolved, because it's not going to get resolved by arresting a bunch of progressives.
Yeah. Well, and one final part about this, Ivanka Trump very ironically tweeted about religious tolerance and how important it is. She said, America is a nation built on the principle of religious tolerance. We must protect our houses of worship and religious centers. And then, of course, she got a lot of negative feedback on that tweet. A lot of people saying that she should send that message to her father.
Yeah, and to Steve Bannon. But I get it. She's, whatever. She's in an impossible situation. But she's in an impossible situation. I don't know that she cares that she's in an impossible situation. I don't know her. I don't know anything about her, really. But she is in an impossible situation.
Yep.
But her husband is somehow become a chief architect of the Trump administration. So it's not like I'm overly sympathetic to her. They're part of the problem.
Let's go take on the corporate media. Come join us, be a member, and change the media. TYTnetwork.com/join.